Did you know that the first horror video game was called Haunted House and was released in 1972? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights.
Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 210. My name's Gareth Briley. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Hello, good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good. And on my virtual right is Mr. Darren Edwards. How you doing, Darren?
Hi, good evening. I'm very well. I have brought along a themed item for the podcast as well. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Ah, there we go. We've got
Can't
pumpkin.
see it.
I did have a... We're all meant to have dressed up. Richard's forgot his mask. I had a hat like this, but
Love it.
but it was quite... It's too hot. Holland, go. I'm not wearing that all the way through. So it's Halloween. We're going to do a Halloween special today. We're going to talk about the Xbox partner preview program that happened a couple of weeks ago, but we're also going to do a little special about our favourite scary games. I think probably the games we've been playing have been horror related as well. Should we start with the Xbox partner event that we said? Is that the way of saying it? How do you say it properly?
Yeah, that's the partner showcase, I think they called it.
Partner showcase. First of all, just thoughts. What do we? Was it a good little showcase, Darren? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I thought it was okay, considering I only found out about it a couple of days before it was dropped. I don't think it was announced much before that anyway. I was obviously waiting on a release date for Alan Wake 2 DLC, which we got. So yeah, can't complain. It was all right, to be fair.
Yeah. Richard, you happy with it? Was it exciting?
Yeah, I think they timed it well because it seems to be a bit slow in terms of news at the moment. I think everyone's gearing up for whatever Jeff's got on show in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sort of just gave everyone a little taste of what's to come. Timed it well.
We've picked two each, haven't we, to just talk about things that have piqued our interest. I mean, there wasn't a huge amount in there. Richard, do you want to start with yours? What's your first one?
Well, obviously, should be a no-brainer, but Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which was they'd said beforehand was going to be on that, so it wasn't a surprise to see it there. But yeah, just looking forward to a more Like a Dragon. Obviously, the TV show came out last week as well that I'm currently watching. The way that I've mentioned it many times before, the way that they're able to churn out new releases even in this current climate, I think is commendable. And this one looks to be sort of in between in terms of length. The latest game, which was a big RPG, and this time last year they released sort of like a stopgap to sort of explain where one of the main characters has been, and this looks bigger than that in length, but not quite a full 60-hour game. But it features many fan favorite characters, some new characters, obviously, and it's sort of set alongside the events of the game that came out this year, Infinite Wealth. Because a lot of people were asking where a certain character was, and it turns out he was playing pirates. So that's what we get to find out, what exactly he's been up to. Just features the same mayhem that the series is known for now, and yeah, I think it's coming out. It actually the partner showcase, they said that they were releasing it a week early from where the original release date was, and in a separate video after that, the can't remember his name, but the creative director for the studio was like, yeah, we know you want to do some monster hunting, so we're releasing it a week early now, so you can get that done on release date for that as well, which, yeah, I thought was very kind of him, because I'm also looking forward to that game.
Do you think the Skull and Bones team were going? They've done the what? They've what? They've done this in this time after we've been
I
trying to do
mean,
that game for the last 12 years or whatever it was.
who remembers Skull and Bones?
Yeah, it's incredible. They're kind of how much they churn out that team. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and it's all really good. It's really good. I don't think there's been a bad game in the entire series.
Quickly before, what's the TV series like?
Um, I've watched 2 episodes. There's 3 available at the moment, and there's another 3, the final 3 coming out on Friday. It's sort of retelling the events of the first game, so not Yakuza 0, but the first Yakuza. But it's going into a lot more detail surrounding characters' backstories that perhaps in the initial release wasn't there. It was sort of more glossed over, so to see that is quite good. The first episode was very slow. I really enjoyed the second episode though, but it's different. It's perhaps not what people were wanting because it does flip between 2 timelines at an alarming frequency at times, and I think that's quite divisive to people. But it's telling a good enough story so far.
Good. Okay, I might give that a go. Darren, what was the first game that piqued your interest in the showcase?
It comes as no surprise that it was Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC. So we knew it was coming in October, but we only got the release date, I think, in this partner showcase. So it's been out for about a week. It came out on the 22nd, and it's the final kind of chapter of Alan Wake 2. So we had the Wave 1 of DLC a few months ago, which was like 3 what if scenario episodes. And then this one takes place in a Control or FBC, Federal Bureau of Control facility next to the lake in Alan Wake 2, Cauldron Lake. So you play as Agent Estevez, who works for the FBC, who's in Alan Wake 2. And the lake house is kind of referenced, but you never get to go inside. So this is what that is. And it really feels like bringing the two franchises together, because we know that Control 2 is going to be the next big release from Remedy, and they're establishing their Remedy-verse, if you like, where all these worlds are actually connected. So you get called basically to the lake house, and you go in, and all is not what it seems. And it turns out that they've been doing all sorts of different experiments to try and emulate Alan Wake's work, essentially. But I won't say any more than that because it's only a couple of hours, but it's a really interesting theme, and the use of art in terms of like painting and watercolors is very prevalent in it, and how they express and tell the story. And there's obviously kind of clues and little Easter eggs, but there's a big clue about what Control 2 could look like and how it's going to go. So it's worth playing just for that.
How long
I
is it
really,
going?
oh, sorry, it's about 2 hours. And I'm the type of person that will go and look at every table and try and get into every cabinet in these types of games. And even then, it only took me a couple of hours. So it's as ever with Remedy, it's really immersive. Like, it's really well done. It looks fantastic. It's really well acted. But I think it was the weakest of the 3 kind of Alan Wake and episode 1 and episode 2 of the DLC. That's not to say it's bad at all, but it's definitely making a link between Alan Wake and Control. So if people are expecting more of the kind of Alan Wake 2, it's not that, but it does have it does expand on the events of Alan Wake 2, but then it kind of gives it a bit of a send off. Says thank you very much. This is where we're going in the future. Who knows if Alan Wake 3 will happen? We've waited so long for Alan Wake 2, but they've officially said that's it for Alan Wake 2. That's a wrap. So I think it wasn't the send off I was expecting, but it's still really well done and it's worth playing. So if you're a fan of Alan Wake, you'll like it. My advice is probably go and play Control either before or go and play afterwards, because there are a lot of references to the Control game as well.
Oh, I'm looking forward to Control 2. I really loved Control. I loved Alan Wake 2 as well. Yeah, really
Yeah, it's
exciting.
brilliant.
My first game on the partner program thing that I can't work out how to say is Cronus: The New Dawn. we didn't see much of this. We saw a couple of we saw a really nice cutscene with an older lady and this kind of person in a deep sea diving outfit covered in kind of blood. Were they playing chess or drafts or something? I think I remember rightly. And we saw a couple of bits of sort of like in-game stuff. It just looked. It's from the what are they called, the blooper? Is it blooper?
Bloober team.
Bloober team.
Blooper. Yeah, it's from them. It's a new kind of game, new franchise. I really like their work. I know they get some criticism sometimes. I think Silent Hill 2, they've got a lot of love for that. I really love Layers of Fear, which we'll chat about later on. And I'm really excited about a new kind of adventure horror experience in a kind of strange odd world. I was intrigued by this, so we don't know when it's out. Maybe it's in a couple of years, I think, probably. But that looks exciting. Yeah. Richard, what's your second game?
Mouse PI for Hire, which just looks a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think it sort of once is it the patent or is it the trademark for Mickey Mouse ran out earlier this year, I think. There was just an influx of associated media. I think he was portrayed as a serial killer and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing this Mouse PI for Hire coming out as well, and I just dismissed it because it was just there was that much stuff coming out at the time that it was hard to sort of take notice of it. But this trailer looked quite good. Similar art style to the likes of Cuphead and that 1930s cartoon style, all set black and white, like a film noir, I guess. But it's a first person shooter, this, and yeah, it just looks like some good fun. I think they showed a boss battle at the end of the trailer as well. So I think, yeah, I've not played an FPS for a while. And yeah, I don't know too much about it at the moment, but I think this one's one to keep an eye out for.
Instantly, my thoughts were, is it going to be hard? And that's probably because of Cuphead. Thinking of the visual style, and I'm thinking, it's tricky. It might not be at all. But yeah, it looked great. It did look really good. It's interesting with the Disney thing because I think I had to write about it in a review recently. It's only the Mickey Mouse copyright has run out for that particular Steamboat Willie visual look.
That version of him,
yeah. And then everything on the modern version from like 1930 onwards is still Disney's. But yeah. Darren, what's your second one?
I thought it was Cuphead, and then I thought they said they finished with that, but no, I agree. It looks good, and it will be difficult. I'm pretty sure. My second one is Phasmophobia. So if I'm not mistaken, this is already out on PC, if I'm right. And it's coming to Xbox. Well, it's out today actually, as we record, so it'll be out for when this podcast goes out. And it's the perfect time to drop a game like this. So the trailer was quite abstract, but you are basically roaming around this kind of dark, dingy building with only a flashlight, and there's all sorts of noises and screams and God knows what going on. So I don't really know much about it, but that type of game, and we'll talk about a couple of games later that I've got on my kind of scary list, that sense of claustrophobia and isolation makes for the best type of horror game for me. So I'm intrigued to play it and find out a bit more. I'm not sure if it's on Game Pass or not. I can't remember, but it looks like it's going to be a good laugh. But I think those types of games tend to be quite condensed stories and only a few hours long, which is the type of game I'm looking for because I had quite a lot of big open world games recently. So I think that'll be the perfect thing to settle down with at Halloween.
It's not the online one, is it? That you play multiplayer. Is that the one? Ghost hunting. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, good. There you go. Are you reviewing that then,
Darren? Maybe. I am now.
You are now, yeah. Good. It's me. My last one. I think my last one. I like the look of this, just for the dog. The Legend of Babu. Looks like a little kind of like. Nice little adventure in a kind of fantasy land with this big fluffy poodle-like dog. walking about. I don't know. I just like the look of this. It's not else I can't even remember much about it apart from the dog. But it was, yeah, they looked quite cute, it looked quite fun, and yeah, I think I'm excited about that one. Out of the, do you two remember this one?
Very vaguely.
I
Only the
remember the
dog.
dog, but
Yeah,
yeah,
That's
that's
it.
there you
about
go.
It's just
it.
the dog's
That's
the
the
best thing.
USP.
Yeah, exactly. Um, there we go. That's the Xbox partner program showcase thing. There wasn't that much, but there's some interesting stuff in there. What have we been playing? That's what I want to talk about. Let's go to Darren first. What have you been playing?
So I won't talk about Alan Wake 2 again, although I did review that recently and gave it a 4. I've also been playing Squirrel with a Gun, which is just absolutely nuts, if you'll pardon the pun. So we did an interview a few months ago with somebody from the team, and it was one of those games like Untitled Goose Game that just kind of caught my attention straight away. So it's like a sandbox. It's a weird combination of sandbox, puzzler, platformer, and FPS at the same time. So essentially, you kind of start off in this underground bunker as a squirrel, and the squirrel envisions this techie experiment as a giant golden acorn and decides it needs it. And then that kicks off this whole kind of quest to roam around this neighborhood and find these golden acorns while all these agents are trying to take you down. Um, and you can get all sorts of different weapons from the pistols, like rocket launchers, shotguns, all sorts of stuff. And as well as collecting the acorns, you can collect what they call reload wedges. So you've only got certain amounts of ammo in the clip, but these can reload instantly rather than you having to go and find more ammo at these little they were like illuminated circles where you automatically reload. It's got that type of ragdoll physics as well, so you can cause all sorts of mayhem. You can even unlock little vehicles, so you can get a little remote control car. And there's something very odd but satisfying about driving around in a little remote control car as a squirrel with a rocket launcher mounted on your shoulder, just causing absolute carnage. It sounds like it's just a bit of a sandbox and it wouldn't last for more than a couple of hours, but actually the gameplay and the area expands as you find more and unlock more to progress. So you can even get like a little jet ski and a little speedboat as well at some points. It's just bonkers, but it really works. And it's just really, it doesn't take itself seriously at all. Like it is genuinely really, really funny. So if you're looking for something different, I think it's only about 16 quid. Then I would recommend it because it is a really good laugh. You'll have fun with it. I did. I gave that. I think I gave that a 4 as well.
Is it like Goat Simulator? Because that has it almost sounds a bit like that.
It is, yeah.
The funness about it.
Yeah, it is absolutely. In it same type of vibe to it, but it doesn't just leave you totally to do what you want. You can do if you want, but there's a series of quests that will kind of guide you through the story and show you around the environments and unlock different parts of the town as well.
Good. There you go. Scroll with the gun. Richard, have you got a Halloween-y type game you've been playing?
Sort of. I've been playing UFO 50, which is on PC at the moment, and it's a brilliant compilation of 50 fake games that have been created for this compilation. So it's a fake compilation, but all the games are very much like 8-bit, so they were all the story in the game is they were all created by this one company called UFO Soft in the 1980s, and they're very much of a similar vein of the games that I first started playing when I first became a gamer. So it's really nostalgic, even though these games are all brand new. And there is a horror game in there. There's like a point and click horror game in there, which is about 2 to 3 hours long. There's supposedly an RPG in there that can take around 60 hours. So it's just 50 games, and they're all varying lengths, all different types. There's a brilliant game called Party House, I think, in this list, where you get it's like a card roguelike, so you have to invite party guests every time there's a knock at the door. You have to let them in. And if you let so many bad people in, then that's you run over. But you need to then collect things to progress to the next level. Um, but the dashboard is really well designed as well for these games. So it's all the cartridges of these games, and you get to go in. If you've not played one before, this animation happens where you dust it off basically. Um, if you manage to complete a game, it will turn gold. But then there's another step after that where if you get like 100% on it or something, it will turn cherry. And it's all about just reading through the Reddit. It's all about what game's easiest to cherry and things like that. And it's really interesting seeing how this community is sort of banded together just to discuss the merits of each game. There was some guy had written an extensive review on each and every single game in this list, and it sort of caught me by surprise because I've not heard anything about it until the reviews came out, and the reviews were saying, it's brilliant, and it's exactly as you remember these games, but they're all brand new. It's a very unusual feeling to have for these games. The latest one in fact, the first one that I managed to cherry, as the term is a game called Camouflage, and there's only about 14 or 15 levels, but you're a little chameleon, and depending on what tile you're stood on, you can then change into that color. But you need to be careful of like frogs and lizards and stuff because it's almost like a stealth game as well, so they'll have line of sight. And then if you're a different colour, stood on a different coloured tile, they'll spot you straight away. So it's all about figuring out the route to go to get to your home, but also blending into the background as well. And I think I've not even touched over half the games yet, but it's absolutely brilliant. I'm having such a blast with it and playing all these games. And I just hope that it doesn't stay on PC for too long because it would be. I'm playing it on Steam Deck and it's great on the Steam Deck, but yeah, I would like it on home console sooner rather than later as well.
Wow, UFO 50. I've not heard of it at all. That sounds great. It does sound really interesting.
It's really good.
I don't like you saying I've got to cherry these games.
Sounds a
That's
bit
just the
borderline.
term. I'm going to finish on a spooky game, but I've been playing. I've finished, reviewed, completed a Quiet Place, The Road Ahead. So if you don't know what The Quiet Place is, Quiet Place is a couple of films, well, 3 films that have come out. Quiet Place, I think, came out in about 2017, and the premise of The Quiet Place is that there was an invasion of these aliens, sort of that went all around the world. We don't know why they've come here. We never find out why they're here or what they want. But the moment they arrived in these meteoroids, they started killing everything. And very soon, the kind of humans worked out that they're blind, but they've got super hearing. So if you make any kind of sound, they will just. And they're very fast. They come from nowhere, and they just will kill you. So the survivors of the initial apocalypse are kind of living silently. So they're walking around silently, and they have the only places they can sometimes talk to each other is like by waterfalls or by water. So because that's quite loud, or they find different places to survive. So that was the premise of the first film. The second film was a continuation of one's family's kind of journey after one of the. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. And I've just watched the prequel, A Quiet Place, and which is brilliant. It's really good. Which I was really surprised. Really good. Really brilliantly performed and filmed. And this is the beauty about the kind of premise is it can go anywhere around the world really on this thing. It can pick up any story because it's happening everywhere. So the premise of this story is that you follow a young woman called Alex, who is with her boyfriend at the start of the thing, and they're sort of like day 100 into the thing, and their survival. They're trying to find something tragic happens. And their safe kind of place, which is the hospital that they're staying in, which is all kind of like they're living in, it's kind of padded up, gets invaded by the creatures, and she has to move. She has to go on the road ahead. She has to go to try to find somewhere safe. So you're following her journey through, and you're getting flashbacks to just before it all started and the day it happened on day 0. But the big thing about the thing is it's first-person adventure, and you just got to get used to the pace because, as you can imagine, it's the quiet place, so you can't make any noise. So you might be walking, for example, and it's about you going very slowly on a walk, but you might come across water or like puddles, and you can go through them, but you have to be completely slow in how you're moving. There might be tins that you can see in the darkness. You might hit a tin or a block. If you hit something, it's there. And you early on, Alex creates a kind of like a zoom recorder, so you can have it in your left hand. You can see the decibels of the sound if you're going to spiking or doing something or hitting something, or if you open a door it will creak, so you've got to do that as slow as you can and not try to. So it's a game about patience, of course. And so if you're a person who loves your games fast and furious and jumping around, it's not going to be for you. But if you like, and the tension is quite, high, and eventually the creatures appear very next to you, so it's about you being very still, but distracting them, maybe throwing something so they will go over there. But also the problem is Alex is asthmatic, so anything becomes too tense, you have inhalers as your kind of like first aid thing. So if the creature's there and she starts to breathe, the moment, and his little kind of lung icon in the left hand corner, and if it goes to red, she's going to cough. So you've got to stop her coughing. She coughs, that's the end. But I really loved it because I think the world is really interesting. The writing's really good. The characters are great. It's 8 hours to complete, which is kind of perfect length. It looks really good. It looks kind of beautiful. The settings look good. Brilliant lighting. And the tension stuff is good. But I think some people who reviewed it just haven't bought into it. If you don't buy into anything, because it will get, you are doing the similar things after a while. You're just being, walking around silently and going from A to B, really. But that tension is kind of amazing. Towards the end, you're dying a lot, so it's like you have to keep repeating and repeating, and that's probably where some people. I didn't mind that. Yeah, it's a really great game, a great kind of horror, different experience. And if you feel really brave, you can have your microphone on your headset, but that means it will pick up the noise from you in the room when you're doing it, talking. But I've got a dog, so that's mental. Dogs start barking, that's it. Yeah, so I didn't use that. There you go. A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead. I think I gave it 4.5. Famous 4.5. Let's talk about horror. Now, Neil, on the Xbox Hub, there's a great list, an article, and I think he's done a little video to go with it, where you can see the best horror games of 2024, and in there's all sorts of things like from sort of Hellblade 2, which is I think some bits of it is horror. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is in there. We've got the Stalker series, Still Wakes the Deep, Crow County, The Castle of Frankstone, which Richard's favourite Poppy Playtime, Chapter 3. There's a few in there. And Amanda the Adventurer, which I reviewed recently, which is a great kind of horror experience. Really kind of like strange and weird and really disturbing. But we're going to talk about our favourite horror games of all time on consoles or games, and I think we've got 2 each to chat about and discuss. Who wants to go first? Let's go to Darren first again. Darren, what's your first one?
My first one. This is really a really difficult decision, but I've gone with more recent ones because I can remember them better. So I think it was last year I reviewed Amnesia: The Bunker. Now, Amnesia is famous for being quite terrifying. You kind of being stalked by something that's very fast, very able to track you and catch you out, a bit like you were talking about in The Quiet Place. If you're making too much noise or drawing attention to yourself, then you've had it, basically. And Amnesia: The Bunker's set in World War One. So at the beginning, you get separated from your battalion, if you like, and you think you've escaped the bombs and the Germans and stuff, but then you take shelter in this old, seemingly disused bunker. But then you quickly discover that there's something else in there with you. And the great thing about how it's done is that it's the use of light as well as sound. So you've got safe rooms that you can sprint back to if you feel like that you're getting affected by the darkness, because it will kind of start to play with your mental health and stuff as well. But there's something that stalks you in the darkness, and sometimes it will appear. It marauds basically, so it patrols. The AI is really clever. It will appear, it will make noises, it will respond to noises you make, but then other things will happen in the environment that will make a noise or draw attention to you as well. And I remember when I was reviewing it, it's not the type of game I'd expect to play for 5 or 6 hours in a row, but I just couldn't stop playing it. And I remember kind of checking myself. I was breathing quite heavily because I was really on edge. Like, it's one of the few games that really put me on edge. And I could feel myself physically like quite warm and starting to get a bit clammy because of how intense it was. And I think there's been quite a few amnesia games, but for me, the setting of that one just really captured the kind of horror. So that was the reason why I picked the first one. If you haven't played it, I would recommend it. It's really good.
And it might still be on Game Pass. Is it on Game Pass? It might still
Yeah,
be on there.
I
It
couldn't
was on there
remember
for a
if it.
bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it was when I played it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good. I'd good. It's a very good game. Richard, you got quite a controversial one. I want to hear your reasoning behind this one.
So,
This one.
if I may, Gareth, I would
Yeah.
firstly like to correct you. You sold this to us as our scariest ever games, not our favourite horror games.
Right.
So I've picked two unconventional games, and the first one is Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, which was the first Spyro game to come out on the PS2, I believe. And I loved the original trilogy on the PS1. Thought they were perfect platformers. So I was very excited to get some Christmas money one year to buy Enter the Dragonfly. I think I must have been about 12 or 13 at the time. And playing through it, and I was a bit disappointed. It's not a very good Spyro game by any means, but it followed like the same basic principles. Like, you'll go to a different world, progress through it, collect everything, and then there'd be a few side things where you'd need to help people out. And one of them in particular, I did what I needed to do, and I can't remember what that was exactly. Went back to the person that I was speaking to, and if I remember rightly, it was a giant toad. Obviously cartoon visuals, so that wasn't the scary thing. Went up to him as Spyro and said, "Look, finished this job for you." And then there was a bug in the game where, if you remember how my voice sounded that time when you said I was sounding possessed,
Oh
that
yeah.
happened with this character, and it completely put me off this game to the point where I said to my dad, "Get this game out of my house." I thought it was possessed. We went to the shop and got a refund for it, and I'll never ever want to play that game again.
So it just was going.
I don't know. It just completely distorted the voice. It was like or something like that, and it just freaked me out. Good. This was back in the time where horror for me was an absolute no go. I've since done a 180 on that now, but back in those days, anything that scared me like that, I just wanted it as far away from me as possible, like back in the shop where I'd bought it from, as far away.
That's a good horror story. I like this.
That is
Yeah,
good.
wow.
I like the idea of you going into the store and going, "This is possessed. Can I return it?"
Well, that's what I said. So I said to the person there, I was like, "There's something wrong with one of the voices in this game," and I can remember the receipt as well. She gave me the receipt back to say, "Oh, we've given you a refund." And the reason code she'd given was it was an unwanted item, and I was like, "Well, that's only half true. What the truth is, you probably don't have an option for on your point of sale."
Brilliant.
That's great. My first one is this hard one because I'm going to mention a couple of runners up, but they're in that same kind of area. I'm going to mention Limbo and Inside, which I think definitely Limbo is a horror. You know, this person traveling through this kind of like Limbo world, especially the spider, if you've played it before. And Inside has an ending that I'm not going to talk about yet, but Inside has an ending that is completely amazing, but also horrific. But I think in that same world, I think the Little Nightmares 1 and 2 games are, I think, really great kind of horror and scary experiences. Have you played them, you two?
Not to any great extent, no.
No, you've got to give it a go because they're great. Because you're traveling through as this little character, and you're going through these kind of like weird, strange, dreamlike, decaying kind of worlds, and you are sort of haunted by these sort of creatures coming around you, and some of those creatures might be kind of benign or might be suffering in the corner, but some of them are huge. So you're a very little character. At one point, for example, you're in a kind of schoolroom, and the school teacher is almost like. Do you remember the Pink Floyd "Another Hole in the Wall"? Have you ever seen that video? Those strange kind of like huge kind of like, and they feel like this kind of grotesque versions of us. They will kind of like stalk you and follow you at one point, or run after you, and because of their size and how small you are, you might have to run or leg away from these things. And it's just like they're really good at doing, those developers really brilliant at kind of doing strange, horrible, know what to put the chills into you, as well as kind of like entertain and scare. And I think all those games are really, really great. I'm really looking forward to their new stuff with their new. They've left the Little Nightmare thing, and they're doing, I can't remember the name of it. Monsters, maybe.
I can just remember the pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're brilliant at it. I think they're really good. So yeah, that's my. I gave about 4 games there though, instead of 1, but that's Little Nightmares.
Well, yeah.
Darren, thank you. Darren, what's your second one?
Well, I couldn't not pick this. I went for Alien Isolation. I think, especially recently, we've talked about it already. Like, Romulus is brilliant. If you haven't seen it, please go and see it. Well, you probably can't anymore, but it's on streaming now. And they're making a sequel, which is great news. And they've announced recently for the 10th anniversary a sequel to Alien Isolation. But I remember I never owned it, and I went round to a friend's house to play it. And this was after uni. I was living back home for a couple of years before I moved away again and settled. And we used to kind of play through like the old Resident Evils, like the first one on the GameCube, and just do kind of nights at each other's house, and we'd do a few hours and stuff. And Alien Isolation came out, so I went round to his to play it, and I was just watching for a couple of hours before I started playing, and I was just absolutely blown away by how it looked, how it felt, how the lighting and sound was used, but most of all the AI of the alien itself.
Darren, really
It was just so clever, and it made it so scary as well, because there was no kind of discernible pattern that you could spot to trick it or avoid it. It would change its behavior. And the androids were scary enough when they would just like out of nowhere like start screaming and running at you and all sorts. But then you had the xenomorph to deal with as well, and sometimes it would come from above, or it would come from somewhere else. You have to hide under a table and see it walk past you. And you had the classic kind of radar, handheld radar from the film as well, so you could kind of see it beeping, and the dot was kind of getting closer to where you were, but you couldn't see it in front of you. And you were thinking, where's it coming from? Is it coming through a vent? Is it coming from the floor? It was just brilliant. And obviously it expanded on the lore of the universe in terms of Ripley's daughter. Her name escapes me now. Is it Ellen? But it was just brilliant. And it was properly scary as well. Not just jump scare, but it was the anticipation of waiting for it and trying to guess where it was going to come from. And it was so utterly, you couldn't do anything against it. If it got you, that was it. It was game over, and you had to start again. So yeah, I've got fun memories of that game, and I cannot wait to see what they do with the second one. I don't know how they can have the same impact for a sequel, but hopefully they can do it again.
We forget. I think you mentioned in there about the androids. You forget how scary the androids are for the first.
Yeah,
you don't
bloody crap myself. Yeah, several times.
You don't see them for a while into the game, do you? And then I think you're in a bit, and then they come alive, and it's like, I remember that section, and like, wow. Yeah. yeah, it's an amazing game. I think Richard, what's your second one?
Again, it's another unconventional one. I think after this one happened, I was convinced that my PS2 was possessed by something. But Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness, I was playing about 6 months after the Spyro episode, and again, it's not a very good game by any means. But the bit where you're in Paris, you go to the Louvre. You sort of manage to get in, and I remember there's a loading screen, and then you end up on a high wire above like an exhibit. So I'd progressed through to the point before I got to the loading screen, and then the game opened back up with the camera inside Lara's head, and all I could see were her eyes and her teeth, and it was just that was enough for me.
Did you get your money back?
I took it back. I didn't want anything to do with it.
He's back
And I was
again.
just like,
There's another one.
What is my PS2 doing to me?
Oh,
And
dear.
but like genuinely, these two are probably like the scariest bits I've ever had in a game, because I think everything else has been scripted, so it's almost like, yeah, that's supposed to happen, whereas these two just terrified me as a kid, and even now I can still remember them vividly.
When I've played FIFA, I've played FIFA, every year and a lot. There's been occasionally there's been a strange bug that's happened really rarely when some of you score a goal and then they go back to the centre line and then they all just stop and just stare almost like the camera. They're just like standing there waiting, and it's the weirdest, scariest thing. It's like they're looking at you. What now? Why do you make us do this? Yeah,
I've seen it on FIFA where like faces have been inside out and everything. But I can see it now. I can see it now and look back and laugh at it. But like at the time,
yeah.
I think I turned it off. I turned the PS2 off straight away, and I went back on it, and I'd not saved it for a while, so I had to go do a whole section again, and I did it, and the same thing happened, and I was like, this isn't for me anymore.
Oh.
The last game on this series is Layers of Fear. My last one. Have you two played Layers of Fear?
No.
No.
No, it's Layers of Fear and Layers of Fear 2, and there's a special Series X version, which is it has the two first games, but it does its own like new addition to it, and has a new chapters, and it's really good. I think it's a really good kind of ghostly horror experience, first person adventure. There's no really anything. I mean, you on rails, you're going through a kind of journey, but they know their horror really well and what the kind of scares, and the first game is about paintings and about art coming alive, and the second one is all about film in the 20s and about filmmaking. Of course, they're famous for the kind of mannequins coming to life and following you. It's always a really good scary one. And they're both those games really had a good impact on me. I really love the new version as well, and I think any kind of scare, they're really good at doing the scares, that team. So it's worth having a look. When I was talking, then I realised about the Resident Evil games and thinking about those and about really scary, especially the last one, Village.
Yeah, I similar kind of memory to Richard. I remember when Resident Evil 4 came out, and I must have been about 14, and I was playing it with a friend, and we looked 15, so we managed to buy it in HMV, and we had because it was GameCube exclusive back then, and I remember it was more action, so it wasn't quite as horror as some of the others, but there was a bit where you're pursued through the sewers by one of Salazar's like right-hand men, and it was this massive like creature with like a long whip tail that would like shoot up through the floor and from the roof, and you had to kick canisters of liquid nitrogen to freeze it so then you could get away, and then you had to wait for this lift to come down. There's like loads and loads of floors, and it was very slowly coming down. I remember that vividly, being absolutely terrified. I had to like psych myself up every time I played that bit when I was younger.
Yeah. Right, there we go. Thank you. Now, Richard, you've got a quiz for us, haven't you? A Halloween quiz.
I have.
Oh.
So another reason I picked those two games was because I didn't want to mention other games that might be on an answer to this question, and also because they were genuinely scary. So I've got 15 questions, and each one has 3 characters. And if I say the first character name and you get it right, you get 3 points. And if you get it after the second character name, you get 2 points, and it goes on like that. So I don't know how you want to do it. Do you want to take turns guessing, or do you just want to buzz in and let the other person then have a go?
I don't mind. What do you want to do,
We
Darren?
can take turns if you want. We can be civilized on Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Let me just get a tally up there. Okay, so first...
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Nothing.
Question number 1, the first character is Elliot Ludwig.
Oh, it rings a bell.
Are we doing this in turns?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
You go first, Darren.
Sure.
Yeah.
This might be way off the mark. Silent Hill?
No.
Alone in the Dark.
No.
Oh, good guess.
Second character is Mummy Longlegs.
So these are the cat. Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's right. It's Silent Hill this time.
Liza P.
No. Third one. So this will be worth 1 point to whoever gets it right. Huggy Wuggy.
Oh, I think I know.
It's your turn.
Okay, is it Five Nights at Freddy's?
No.
Oh.
Oh, so it was.
What the hell are you reviewing? Poppy's Playtime? Is that what it's called?
It's Poppy's Playtime. Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Good.
question 2. I'll crack on. Walter Sullivan. So if you get this right, it's worth 3 points. Gareth, you'll be first then. Walter Sullivan.
It's hard, this, isn't it? Alone in the Dark. I'm saying that again. One of them's going to come up trumps.
No.
It's like me and Anthem. And they're all horror games.
Yes.
God, I have no idea. It's pretty bad. Amnesia.
No. Second character, James Sunderland.
They're like CEOs of a company.
Some of them are. For what companies and what games?
Resident Evil.
No.
I can't even think of any horror games now. Mine's gone completely blank. I'll say Layers of Fear that Gareth was talking about.
No. The final character, who will it be this time? With Darren.
Yes.
Yeah. The final character is Pyramid Head.
Oh, well, that is Silent Hill.
It is.
We're going to guess everything on the last one, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I think some of them are ridiculously hard, but some of them should be fairly easy. Question 3, Odin Anderson.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
Alan Wake 2?
I'll accept Alan Wake, yeah, too. Well
Well
done. It's not specific games, it's the franchise itself, but yeah, Alan Wake. Well done.
Well done.
Question 4, Jake Muller.
Alone in the Dark.
No.
It's gonna happen soon. Jake Muller. Don't know. I don't know. Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's well done.
It's not.
Those
is
are a
it?
lot of games.
Yeah. He's one of the playable characters in 6, I think.
Wow.
Blimey, well
Wow.
done.
Also, would have been Jack Baker and then Jill Valentine, so you would have definitely got that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Question 5. I'll go Darren first for this one then. Ellie Langford.
Alone in the Dark. Oh, it's gonna happen.
Is it The Last of Us?
No. But good guess. Next one, so 2 points. Nicole Brennan.
That rings a bell.
No idea.
Gareth first for this one.
Okay.
Sorry, it's me. Don't know. For Five Nights at Freddy's.
No. Darren.
God, I have no idea.
Ellen Nicole.
I have no idea. I'll just have to pass on that.
Okay. Be you first for this one then, Darren. Isaac Clarke.
Oh, Dead Space.
Yeah.
That's why it did really ring a bell.
I could see the cogs turning, Gareth. Yeah.
Yeah. Was Nicole the doctor? The wife?
Yeah, or he's one that
Yeah.
he's seeing that she's. Oh,
Yeah,
spoiler.
that's right.
Yeah. Question 6. Paxton Fettel. Think back. I'll give you a clue for this one because it's tricky, but think back a couple of generations.
Oh. Who is it?
Darren.
I don't know. Manhunt.
No, but good shout.
Dead Rising.
No. Second one, 2 points. This is the character that you play as, I believe. Point Man.
Sweet man. I don't know. No idea. Half-Life.
No, good shout.
Point Man.
Rings a bell, Point Man.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Everyone's shouting who's listening to this, going, "You
Yeah.
idiots."
What are you doing? I have no idea. Friday the 13th, no idea.
No. You first for this one, though. For 1 point, Alma Wade.
What's that game called?
I think Gareth's got it. If you can't get it, Darren.
I'm not going to get it, so I'll pass. I can't.
That really rings a bell. Is Alma the kind of like the weird child special creature that goes?
Yeah,
What's the
she
name
is.
of the game? I've forgotten the name of the game.
Fear.
Fear.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Suddenly going through and everyone's dead. She's killed everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Question 7. Sally Smithson.
Alone in the Dark.
You're going to be very disappointed. I will say that about Alone in the Dark. You're both going to be very disappointed.
Sally Smithson. I don't know. Prey.
Ooh.
No, good shout. Dwight Fairfield for 2 points.
Dead Rising. They all feel like Dead Rising names because I've played it recently.
Oh God, I've no idea. I don't know. Amnesia. No idea.
No, the last one for 1 point. The Entity.
This is the easy one as well.
The Thing?
No.
Oh, good guess. The Entity. Oh no. Maybe Halloween. Is that a game? Is it a game
No.
of Halloween? Oh.
No, good shout. Dead by Daylight.
Oh, right. I wasn't going to get that.
Pretty sure you said everything that was included in Dead by Daylight. But I did try and go for original
Yeah.
characters. Question 8. Jessica Riley.
Until Dawn.
Well done, Gareth.
Well
I
done.
thought that rang. I had something rang in my head then. Yeah.
Really?
I was also going to have Josh Washington and Dr. Alan Hill.
Ah, good.
Yeah, good shout.
Question 9. Ralph the Phone Guy.
That rings a bell as well. Darren, you go.
Evil Dead.
No, not bad shout.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Well done, Gareth.
No. Well done.
The only thing I know about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Chica the Chicken and Freddy Fazbear on that. Question 10. If either of you get this, I'll award double points because this is very difficult. Mio Amakura for the first one.
Who's first?
You go first, Darren.
Darren.
I can go first. Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
No, good shout.
Slit Ahead. It's not even out yet.
Not a bad shout, but second one, Yuri Kozukata. I think you're both geographically in the right area at least.
Ah.
I'll put Darren. Darren can go first again.
I don't know whether I'm just imagining a game that doesn't exist, but I can't think of what it's called. Oh, Project Zero.
Ooh. Yeah, well done.
Well done. Really good.
So that
I remember
give
playing
you,
the second
give you
one.
4
It was
points for
great.
that one.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
What a game series that is! Brilliant.
Question 11, Beast Claw Joseph. Gareth, go first.
Bloodborne.
Yeah, well done.
Well done.
I thought it was a
But put-
Bloodborne.
Patches the Spider and Father Gascoigne for that one.
Very good. I actually thought it was Father. That's what I was getting mixed up with. I thought it was Father Gascoigne. That's not.
Question 12, Lynn Langerman.
Don't know. Pass for me.
I don't know. I'm just going to guess Prey again if it comes up.
Good.
Nope. Second one, Phyllis Mother Gooseberry Futterman.
I'm trying to think of another horror game. That's strange. Dead Rising.
No.
I mean, I don't know if it's horror, but State of Decay.
Oh,
No. Good shout.
Good.
Something different, but good shout. Final one is Miles Upshur.
I don't know. I pass.
Yeah, I've no idea. I'm going to have to pass on that as well.
Oh. It's the game that Gareth made me play this year. Outlast.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it. The second one's the crazy woman. Did she have the bird as like a puppet on her hand?
Yeah.
With,
I didn't know anyone's names in that, so that's a good one. Just too scared.
Yeah, same.
Good.
Question 13. Joseph Oda.
Oh,
Go on, Gareth.
the casting of Frank Stone.
No. Good guess, but no.
Oh, this rings a bell.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm just going to guess Prey. I have no idea.
Nope.
Keep thumping for it until
Second
it comes
one,
up.
Ruvik.
Do you go, Darren, or should I go?
You go. I have no idea.
Evil Dead.
No.
Oh.
Doom. No idea.
Oh,
No.
that's a good show.
Final one, Sebastian Castellanos.
Oh, what's this? Resident Evil 4.
No.
We've had Resident Evil, no.
I have.
I'll give you a clue, Darren. Gareth on the similar lines with Resident Evil. And he's half said the title on a previous answer.
I have no idea. I would say Alone in the Dark, but we know that's not in there, so I'll pass.
The Evil Within.
That's a good game.
Yeah. Okay, fair dues.
Yeah.
You'll be pleased to know there's only 2 left now.
Okay.
Question 14. Francis. And I searched high and low for a surname for this character, but I couldn't find one.
Don't know.
He's a playable character.
Friday the 13th.
No.
Okay.
Dead Rising.
No. Second one, Zoe. Francis and Zoe.
What's this? What the hell is this? Evil Dead game.
No.
Oh, this rings a bell. This really rings a bell.
You'll know this one.
I don't know. Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, so I was thinking it as well. It just suddenly kicked in. Zoe, it was
Yeah.
like,
I had a bit of a flashback to Plan After Dead, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, what a game.
Question 15. Nick Ramos.
Where's that from? Alone in the Dark. It's got to be.
No.
Oh, well, if you're saying that, I'm going to go for Prey one last time.
No.
Oh,
Oh, damn.
Second one, Chuck Green.
Alien Isolation.
No.
No.
is it State of Decay?
No.
No.
Finally, Frank West.
Oh, Dead Rising,
Oh,
isn't it?
it is.
Unbelievable.
Go on. I
Yeah,
think it should
Dead
go.
Rising.
Go. Well done.
Oh, my God.
Right at the end.
Well
Okay.
done.
So the scars on the doors. Hang on. Darren, you scored 8. Gareth,
Attention.
bear with me.
Right, while we're waiting for this, I'll just give you some news that's come across my laptop at the same time. PlayStation have closed the studio who did Concord. It's gone. They said a farewell.
Oh, wow.
So that's breaking news on this podcast.
Breaking.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Gareth, you scored 17.
Well done.
Brilliant.
Good
I've got a
work.
hat.
Celebratory.
Where you crown.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Richard. Great. Thank you guys very much for that. And happy Halloween, everyone. What are we looking forward to? Are we all going to play Dragon Age? Have we bought it? Anyone? Are we reviewing it?
Not yet.
Happening? No, Richard.
I'm reviewing it.
Nice. Good.
I'm not. I just wanted to see your expression.
Oh, no,
Are you reviewing it?
No, I'm not. I'll be playing it at some point.
Could be the other one then.
Yeah. It's getting some good reviews. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much, Darren. Thank you very much, Richard. And thank you very much for listening. And we'll see you next time. Happy Halloween. Bye-bye.
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 You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.thexboxhub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.